like my iPod stuck on replay. So before I begin, I just want to say that this is not going to be another video waxing nostalgic about how amazing the iPod is. Because in order to be nostalgic for something, it has to have gone away to begin with. And I've been using an iPod actively since 2008. And since I have not stopped using them, I can't be nostalgic about it. It's something that I actively use. And yeah, I'm going to talk about iPods because they were and are still amazing. So we've got a couple Gen Nanos over here, so iPod Touch and all that. The oldest one here is the iPod Mini, and this is actually one of the more recent additions to my collection. This one I actually found at a thrift store, and it charged, and it's fully functional. Funny enough, it's called Bob's iPod. So whoever Bob is out there, they liked a lot of the Cranberries and 80s kind of music in there. And yeah, another interesting anecdote about this one is that I hooked it up to iTunes, and iTunes is great. It's still the best system for managing music that I've been able to find. The UI for me is unmatched because you can just edit the metadata so easily, and it's just really good for editing. Yes, I know there's other systems that are better, lossless and all that, but look, I'm just trying to listen to my music without having to pay $15 a month. So this works for me. And while iTunes makes it really convenient to get music from your computer onto an iPod, it's a lot harder to get music off of the iPod onto a PC. That's easier to do on newer versions of iTunes because music purchased on iTunes after a certain date is actually DRM free, which is great. We love DRM free stuff, DRM free games, DRM free music. All of that is great because it makes it easier to actually own the stuff and not just get locked out of content that you bought. But this iPod, the account on it and the music on it was old enough that it still has iTunes DRM. So I'm just going to kind of leave the iPod on here with the music that it had on it. And I'm just going to leave it on there because, yeah, I think that's just a fun little time capsule of whoever Bob was. And this is Bob's music, and it's going to be on there. And because, yeah, I feel bad wiping it, and I have plenty others that I can use if I need a fresh iPod. So this one's just going to be Bob's iPod. And that's the iPod Mini right there. Then we've got the Nano, right? The Nano was the successor to the Mini, and it was obviously much smaller. And I remember my sibling getting one of these right when they came out, paid full price at Best Buy, and it was actually not unlike this one, and I bought it from them after they got a new one. So this was my first iPod. Well, not this one exactly, because I accidentally sent the original one through the wash, but it was a white iPod Nano, 1 gigabyte. This is a 2 gigabyte, so it was a bit of an upgrade, and I don't remember how I came across this one, but it was nice to kind of have the original iPod that I started off with. And this one still works. It's got a little bit of dead pixels there on the side of the screen, but nothing too concerning. And yeah, I don't really use this one for anything. But then, of course, we have the 2nd Gen Nano, and then the 3rd Gen Nano, which is right here. The 4th Gen looks similar, but it had a slightly taller screen and a little camera on the back, because I guess Apple thought that they needed to compete with, what was that camera? The little flip USB cameras that were all the rage. I remember back when Rooster Teeth was still making videos and stuff, they all got cameras just to record the nonsense that they did at the office. But yeah, Apple thought that everyone was going to want to do that, and so they added a camera on the 5th Gen. But overall, I think I liked the colors a little bit better on the 4th Gen. And yeah, and the third gen, of course, added video. The iPod Touch supported video. Of course, nowadays, if you're going to watch a video, you're not going to want to do it on a screen this big. It's just, it looks great. And that's a high quality display, especially for the time. But it's just small. So yeah, these were the ones that I used after my iPod went through the wash. I got this one off of Craigslist, actually. Kind of a sketchy exchange, honestly. Yeah, there was definitely a black market for these on Craigslist at some point. And I remember at one point we actually purchased an iPod off Craigslist that ended up being stolen. It came up and it was the name of someone at my school. And so we got a hold of that person's parent and they came over and picked it up. And yeah, and they were really nice about it. And they did, I think we paid $20 for it. They did pay us the $20 more as like a reward. And even though it's like they didn't have to, like it was a stolen item. But anyway, they were nice about it. And so I got this one after that debacle. And this one is on its last legs. The battery does not really hold a charge, but it's still got some music on there. And it's got the really fun games, right? These ones have the, let's see. Yeah, they've got that spiral, that like maze game. I remember being obsessed with this maze game back when it came out. Let's see if it still works. New game. Oh, I haven't even played this. Everything's locked. Hopefully that's showing up on camera. All right. Yep, it uses the accelerometer. That was one of the heavily advertised features on these, was the ability to shake it and shake to shuffle. I always turn that feature off because it just kind of got in the way of me trying to listen to music. But it is a fun kind of gesture based. There we go. Look at that. We've solved level 1 of the maze. Yeah, so obviously there's a million app games that do stuff that's more innovative than that. But at the time, that was pretty cool. Vortex is just kind of your standard breakout, but in a circular fashion. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that does. Vortex. And these ones did have an external speaker just like these, but only for the clicks. So the external speaker did not work for music. It's just for the little clicky of the wheel. And you'll notice I don't have any iPod Classics. Those are obviously the most sought after and the most expensive. And yeah, I just haven't felt the need to acquire one of those. I'm not a completionist by any means. I try to get devices that I actually use. All right, sorry, I got distracted. What are we doing here? Oh, right. Oh, okay, yes. So this is Brick Breaker, but 3D. Look at that, that's fun. Okay, we'll be here all day if I... Actually, given how degraded the battery is, it probably won't actually last very long. So let's exit out of that. No, how do I exit? Okay, there we go. So yeah, so this one was actually my main iPod for a while. It had my music on it. I would take it on road trips. And then when I started driving and got my license, this one got plugged into the car and it became my radio essentially. Really annoyingly, I had a car that was too new to have a cassette player, but too old to have an aux jack. So it's kind of right in that weird limbo phase where they were phasing out cassettes, but they hadn't quite added the aux port, which means I had to use one of those stupid radio transmitters that plugs into the headphone jack to convert it to a signal that you had to tune in on the radio. And then that would work fine, of course, until you drove, 30 minutes away and there's radio stations were different, so you'd have to adjust it. It was a pain, but that is how I listened to most of my music in my first car. So yeah. And then this one was actually my partner's. They happened to have the identical one. They would use this for running and stuff, so I think it's got some all-time low and things like that. Obviously, I can't play any music for you because YouTube would get scared and do things. But yeah, this one I think is also dead. I thought I charged them all before this, but the batteries on these age pretty poorly. This one's hanging on a lot better. That brings us to this, which is the 7th Gen Nano. This is actually my most recent acquisition. I picked it up for $5 at a garage sale. The person didn't know if it still worked, and they didn't have a cable. And I actually had to go and buy a lightning cable because I didn't have any lightning cables in my house. I had a bunch of 30-pin ones, and a bunch of USB-C, a bunch of micro USB, a handful of wireless chargers, but I did not have a lightning port, so I had to go buy one just to charge this, and it works. This one's got a touchscreen similar to the 6th Gen. The 6th Gen was the weird square one with the clip. That one's a bit of an oddity. Honestly, I think it should have just been called the iPod Shuffle, and they should have kept the Nano as like the vertical orientation one. Yeah, I don't really know what they were thinking calling the 6th Gen one a Nano. It should have just been the next gen Shuffle. But yeah, this one's fine. It does have Bluetooth support, so you can connect Bluetooth headphones. That's pretty nifty, I guess. But other than that, I guess it's smaller than an iPod Touch, but I guess if you want Bluetooth, you could get one of these. I think the newer iPod Touch models also had Bluetooth on them, but I like the 4th Gen because it still has a 30-pin, and these generally tend to be pretty inexpensive these days, which is why I have a couple of them. I have one of them, which is my main iPod now. So this one just lives in my car. It has a handful of music on it, and it's got cover flow. There we go, look at that. So it's got a handful of music on there. Mostly what I want to listen to in the car. So it's not my entire library, which is only about 30 gigabytes. So by no means an extensive amount of music, but yeah, but I could put all 30 gigabytes on here if I wanted because it's 32. So, but I just like to put what I'm actually going to listen to so that I don't have to skip anything while I'm, listening to music. And in the era of just like smartphones and subscriptions and not owning anything, if you have an iPod and you have music and CDs that you purchased or things that you pick up secondhand at a thrift store, which is what I do a lot, you can have just your own little library and curate it. Yeah, like paying $1.29 for a song on iTunes isn't the best deal. And I know that there's lossless files. There's other places that you can go to get files. But again, I like the iTunes interface. It's easy to use. And so I just stick with that. And let's see, we have another one over here. This one, I haven't quite decided what the use case for this one is going to be. I'll probably get rid of some of these older ones. I just wanted to do a video on all of them first. And then this one is the one that I plan to actually put into a dock. So this one I've only put full albums on, so no partial albums, because I plan to put this one in a dock connected to the entertainment center so that I can just listen to full records. I do have a handful of vinyl as well, but this way, like if I just want to put on a record and just let it play, I can have full records there. So these are the ones that get used the most, and I don't really put any videos or anything on them. I use other devices for that, but for music, I have yet to come across anything that beats the iPod as far as user experience is concerned. Yes, I know I could put my MP3s on an Android phone. I have multiple. I could use an old one and just load it up with files, but I haven't been impressed with any of the UIs for Android stuff, like VLC Music Player. Like, it's fine, like it plays files, but the organization leaves a lot to be desired. And iTunes just perfected it. And yeah, I don't really know what that spot is. That spot is I don't think it's the battery expanding. That's usually in another spot. This one also has a little bit of a spot in it, but it's in the wrong spot. The battery expansion is usually more in the center, and it's usually like a darker black. These are just like dead pixels from when I dropped it once. Those showed up a long time ago. And this crack was already there when I bought it. There's also a hair in there, so I think the screen's been replaced, but again, this was a sketchy Craigslist iPod, so what are you gonna do? Where was I? Oh yes, I just haven't run into any sort of music app on Android that I've been impressed with. So if anyone does have one that they use that you feel is good for editing metadata and easy to transfer files, leave a comment and I can look into that. But I have yet to be really that impressed with any Android music things, which is why I still have my iPods. Obviously, you have a bunch of other apps. None of them are really that useful today. So again, I mostly just use these for music, and they work great for that. Oh yeah, another fun thing about this generation of iPod is you could triple tap to invert colors. I remember doing that on an iPad when I had to use one of those for work, and it was kind of like a preliminary way of getting a dark mode on there before dark mode was a standard option. So yeah, again, not a video of me being nostalgic for iPods, because I actively use 3 of these, okay? The other ones, I will probably try to find them a good home. But if you are looking to, downgrade, I definitely look into iPods. I've been using them since 2008 and don't plan to stop. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing for more tech and TV. Take care.